Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a fun comparison of the Ohuhu 200 set and the Ohuhu 320 set. So thought it would be fun to see the similarities and differences between these two sets of alcohol markers. Now starting out, let's start with some similarities. So as you can see, these cases are the same. Obviously, one's just larger. You have the zipper closure and the swivel for your strap, as well as a top strap to lift these bad boys up. The zippers on these cases open super smooth, and then you can get to displaying all of your markers. Now, when the cases arrive, they do not look like they do right here. I actually took all of the markers out as they were kind of mushed all together into different categories, and so I like to arrange my markers in Roy G. Biv just because it makes it a lot easier to know where my reds are, where my blues are, where my tans are, and where my grays are. So that's something I did on my own. I do wish, well, I kind of wish that they came like this just because it'd make it easier, but it is also super satisfying to organize them. Both of these cases come with these plastic sheets that you can place between your pages of paper if you feel like you're working on thin paper, and this will help make sure that there is no bleed through onto your other pages. So they are the same size for both cases, so not a big difference there. Super helpful though if you are working on thinner paper. They also come with color swatching kits, so for each of the colors you can color swatch them out. On this side I had actually completed it for the 320 just because that is a lot of markers to remember. Additionally, they come with these cute little packets that go over your marker color sets. So both of these are chisel and fine sets, and then it just kind of details out some of the information within. So the 200 set shows that it is 200 plus one color blender, and your 320 set is obviously a lot larger, showing that it's 320 chisel and fine markers with one colorless blender. The 200 set is numbered very simply 68, 72, whereas the 320 set is numbered a little bit more complexly and includes a letter before it. So B575, V185, RV198. These markers also include the name of the color, so light pink. So just grabbing these two to show the differences and similarities. So they look pretty similar. The 320 set does have these cute little fine details along the sides. They both note that the fine side with this gray line, once again, your tops are slightly different, but then in reference to how they look, they open the exact same, they look the exact same, other than the fact that the nib for the 200 set does seem to protrude a little bit further than the 320 set. Make sure I get those back on the right markers. So pretty similar, as you can see. Very similar. I shouldn't say pretty similar. And once again, make sure I get those back on the right sets. Now touching a little bit further on the difference in the numbering. So just to pull these both colors. So both of these are the ice blue. Now in the 200 set, it is just noted as 65, whereas in the 320 set, it is noted as G482 ice blue. So if you didn't know that these were both ice blue, when you're doing tutorials on YouTube or watching YouTube tutorials, if somebody just says, I'm using 65 or I'm using G482, it makes it a little bit confusing. I wish, in all honesty, that they had kept the numbering conventions the same, just because this does make it difficult for doing tutorials and in noting what is actually being used. So that was one thing I didn't really like, is that the numbering, I don't know, maybe they could have done like G65, so at least the number was the same. I mean, they both are called ice blue, but if you didn't know that this was ice blue without looking it up, you wouldn't know you have the same color here. Same concept with the rose red. In the 200 set, it's 3. In the 320 set, it is RV783. Both rose red, both look similar, but if you didn't know that this color and this color were the same, you'd probably have to look up that this is also called rose red. Another difference for these sets is their weight. For your 200 set, that weighs 7 pounds, 3 ounces. The 320 set weighs 11 pounds, 6 ounces. So a bit of difference, about 4 pounds between the two cases. Now that may not mean anything if you plan on only ever leaving these sets at home, but it could make a big difference on if you plan on taking these out to a coffee shop or just to draw out in public. Carrying this set is certainly heavier than this set. They do have the very nice handle as well as your strap, but that's a 4-pound difference, and you still have to carry your sketchbook or whatever else you're drawing on. Now let's take a closer look at the color differences between these two sets. Now the paper I'm using here is the Strathmore Bristol. It is in the 300 series, and this is a 100 lib paper or 270 GSM. So here are the color ranges, and let's start at the very top. So on the left, we have the 200 set, and on the right, we have our 320 set. So some of this is based off of opinion. As you can see, some of these colors I have chosen based on personal preference on what category I would like to put them in. So starting at red, when you're comparing the two sets, there's 16 red colors in the 200 set, where there's 20 in the 320 set. Now this is something I wish that marker companies would actually expand upon, is having true reds. I don't feel like the changes here are significant. I do wish that there were some actual more true reds in the new set. That's just personal preference, but something I wanted to mention. On to orange, you have 8 in the 200 set and 17 in the 320 set. An improvement, but once again, I just feel like there's really one true orange. I feel like there could be some more that were in that range. Just to give you a closer up variant of those colors. And then on to yellow, I would say that these are pretty similar on how many were actually included on both sets. So you have 25 in the 200 set and 30 in the 320 set, but you have some more midtones in the green set. Now this was a huge jump. You had 20 in the 200 set and 45 in the 320 set. And I love the color range that you actually get in the new set. This is super helpful. I like using green, and so just having a lower range, as you can see, you have some lower green colors where you don't have as many of those over here. Actually, you don't really have any, but I loved to see such a big jump in how many of those greens you had. And then similar in the blue category. In the blue category, we had 20 in the 200 set and 42 in the 320 set. And once again, it kind of went down to, you have a lot more of the lower range blues, as well as more of those mid and super dark blues. So super happy to see that. And once again, in the purple, You have 23 in the 200 set and 41 in the 320 set, and boils down to the exact same thing. Your color range is a lot different. Over here, you have a lot more of the lower range purples. And then on the new 320 set, you have a lot more of like the mid-range and upper darker purples that are added into there. And continuing on, you have 21 in the 200 set of the pink and 44 in the 320 set. And once again, you're getting more of those mid-ranges, you're getting some upper ranges, and just a little bit more variety, where a lot of these are probably considered more along like the flesh tone side. But I like where over here you're getting more options than what you have on the 200 set. And then the final category I broke down to brown and gray, and over on the 200 set you get 67, and on the 320 set you get 81. And honestly, this was a category that I didn't really necessarily feel like there needed to be more. I was pretty happy in the 200 set on what I had, but there are a few more grays options in there, like these RG140, RG040. Those weren't in the 200 set, so that was nice to have, as I have used those colors a few times now. In all honesty, I love both sets. I really like these markers. I am a big fan of the chisel and fine from the Ohuhu. I do, however, wish that if anything, we could get rid of a couple of these grays and exchange them for a few more reds or oranges. I would prefer that in a set. That's why I do have a preference to the 320, just because there is that greater variety in those colors. As with any alcohol marker, they do have bleed through. So here is a 270 GSM paper, and that is what the bleed through looks like on the back for these markers. So just a little bit of ghosting. You can obviously see it both sides. No difference there, but something to keep in mind depending upon the paper that you choose to use these sets with. I hope this review in comparison of the 200 and 320 Ohuhu marker set was helpful, whether it be that you are looking for new markers to be drawing at home, or if you're going out. Throughout the course of this review, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was highlighting both the similarities and the differences between these two sets. I really like the case that they come in. I like the zipper, handle. They've both held up well. The color splotching kits are super handy, but you don't necessarily need 320 markers. The 200 set has gotten me far. I've used it for about a year now, and I've been able to do and accomplish everything I want. I will say though that the greater range of the markers located in the 320 set has helped on recent drawings. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that like button or subscribing for other future art content. Otherwise, I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.